It's just after lunchtime. Welcome back to eNCA. I'm Masakho and you're watching All Angles. Let's continue with our extensive coverage of the BRICS Summit. Of course, it's taking place at the Sandton Convention Center here in Johannesburg. And this morning, there was a very big announcement in terms of BRICS Plus. Let's take you live now to my colleague and eNCA anchor, Rofhiwa Madzena. Rofhiwa, I understand that, as you promised just before the break, that you're going to have a conversation with one of the ministers that has signed something very important with China.
That's right. It's been a very important 3 days, Masakho, because the relationship or the trade and investment relations we have with China in particular are certainly opening up the opportunity for us to work on many of the challenges that we have. We've already seen Electricity Minister addressing the energy crisis issue through an agreement that saw the emergency electricity equipment on our shores, with more on its way. And now there's a focus on infrastructure in the country as well, and the role that China can play here. We've got the Minister, Sihle Zikalala, sitting down with me in our little makeshift studio this afternoon. Minister, thank you very much for talking to us. First of all, perhaps give us a broad sense of how important South Africa's relationship has been with these BRIC nations when it comes to developing critical sectors like construction, infrastructure and the like.
The platform of BRICS has provided a very strategic platform where countries are engaging on how to develop themselves through trade, but also sharing experiences on other issues such as infrastructure development. These are developing countries. These are countries that share mutual respect, and therefore they engage at that level. For us, it is important because these countries have solid and very capable institutions of infrastructure. And therefore it is important that we strengthen the relationship with them and learn on how they've developed. China, Russia, and Brazil, as well as India. They've got good infrastructure. So we must work with them on infrastructure investment.
Currently, you are working with China. You indicated that you're working on a certain agreement. Tell us about this agreement and what it's set to do for infrastructure in South Africa in particular.
We are working with China through the state entity, which is called the China Construction and Communication Corporation, CCCC. It is an entity that is big in construction. It has carried various projects throughout the world. We are working on extending or establishing small harbors in Northern Cape, Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. We have already started working with them in doing the pre-feasibility study, and we are now moving toward conducting a final feasibility study and start constructing those small harbors. The relationship is good. We have set ourselves a period, as we met yesterday, we set a period of about 3 months to ensure that everything is finalized, so that at the beginning of the year, we will then see the beginning of this process.
Minister, just explain to us then the management of these small ports, which I'm sure will unlock a lot of extra ports of entry and the movement of goods. But will they fall under the management of Transnet? Will they be independent of the state-owned entity? What do you foresee when it comes to the management and the maintenance of them?
Well, they remain under the state, under public works. We then work on maintaining them, ensure that they are improved, as we have done with the 13 ports in Western Cape, the 13 harbors in Western Cape. They've got a capacity, if we build a capacity, they can then feed into these ports that are operated by Transnet. So that is the kind of relationship. They focus on fishing, the issue of tourism, boat building and repair.
And of course, a creation of jobs
Yes.
during the duration and hopefully after the completion of this project.
Yes, during the duration, but after. If you can go to Saldanha, you can see that there is a big company which is doing fishing there. It employs a lot of people, close to 200, if I'm not mistaken. And therefore, you will see that this has a potential to unlock the ocean economy for the poorest areas, because we're focusing on these poorest areas that are along the coast.
So does that mean, Minister, that this is the first of many infrastructure projects that your department will be taking on?
This is one of the many projects that we will be taking on, but there are other projects that we are doing without the participation of other countries, such as the 6 points of entries, which are your land point of entries. There are 6, and that's a big investment that you will see, which we would want
Just for context for the viewer, you're talking about your Bait Bridge, your Lobombos, and so, yes,
Bait Bridge, your border post.
Yes.
Yes. So that will be also rolled out. We will improve 6 during this financial year. At the same time, we are working on ensuring that we improve in terms of maintenance of our properties, but at the same time, we work with all other departments in packaging a strategic infrastructure project for them so that they are bankable and they will then be able to go to the market.
I know you said during this financial year, that could indicate that the department has budgeted for it, or have you got some private sector investment on these projects that you're working on as a department?
There are projects that we have already budgeted for, and there are those that we work through the private sector on the basis of PPP, build, operate, and then transfer to the state.